Now I get to introduce you to a great winemaker from the Central Coast, Natalie Brown. You know she's in the Central Coast because her internet is pausing in and out a little bit, so we get to see her flipping around a little bit there, but her audio is very good. How you doing there, Natalie?
I'm great. Yeah, it's been one of the like classic parts of our springs is really intense wind. So it is a little spotty. Apologize about that. But I'm great. It's been kind of on the cooler side of things, but we're going into a good growing season.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to wine. Tell us about Natalie Brown.
Sure. Okay. So I have worked in wine production, wine making my whole professional career. I moved out to California to go to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. I studied food science and then about halfway through college, worked my first harvest and here in Templeton, and then just continued with wine and cellars and labs. Eventually, my then boyfriend and I bought a tiny little property on the west side of Paso and moved here full time. But yeah, I've worked in wine and worked on the Central Coast for the past 15 years or so.
Cool. And when did Rococo start?
Rococo began in 2016. So this will be our 10th vintage, which is, it feels very, um, I don't know. I just feel like it's like, wow, okay, it's working. We've been doing this for a bit now. But I started in 2016. It was the same year that we moved here to Paso Robles. I was working at a winery just down the street from here, only making red wines, and really wanted a bit more of a white wine education. Just wanted to explore some other vineyards and other styles and grape varieties. And this old vineyard in Los Alamos, which is down in Santa Barbara County, about an hour and a half south of here. They had this old vine Chenin Blanc, and I thought it was fascinating. The vines were enormous. They were planted in the early 70s on their own roots. They looked like little grape trees. I mean, I was used to, like 20 to 30-year-old vines, and these were just huge. And that's what started it. I worked with that fruit in 2016. The farmers are Lucas and Llewellyn, and they just do a really great job, and they've been doing it for so long. And that began the journey. And once I started working with Shannon here in Paso, then some of my neighbors started referring me to other farmers who have been in the area for a long time and also working with Old Vine Shannon, farming Old Vine Shannon. And so it just grew. I started making different Chenin Blancs from different old vineyards on the Central Coast and really just exploring our terroir, the variety we have on the Central Coast and in Paso, all through the lens of this noble variety.
Yeah, it's so cool that you found a lane that you're passionate about and you make such beautiful stuff. And it's really fun to be able to tell somebody, hey, Rococo is a Chenin Blanc brand. I think that's really working in your favor.
It's 100% Chenin. Yeah. And I mean, I've definitely worked for folks who make delicious wines, but maybe they're not the wines that they drink when they go home at night. And to be able to really work with grapes, make wines that I love drinking and love exploring in other areas is so fun.
Tell us about the wine production of the Own Rooted. What is this wine all about?
So the Own Rooted Chenin Blanc is our flagship. I mentioned the Los Alamos Vineyard. That was the first site that we sourced from. And then a couple years after that, I think it was like 2018 or 2019, I started working with the Shell Creek Vineyard here on the east side of Paso. There's another site kind of due due east of the Monterey Bay called Vista Verde. What I do for the Unrooted is I take fruit from all three of those vineyards, co-ferment it in stainless steel, and really try and create a snapshot, like bird's eye view of Central Coast Chenin Blanc. These three sites have different terroirs, but they really, I think, capture the vintage really, really well. And that's what the Unrooted is about. The Shell Creek Vineyard and the Los Alamos Vineyard are both on their own roots. And so this seemed like a really natural name to set the wine apart, describe it, and really tell folks about the grapes and the vines because that's really where the terroir is, not in the cellar.
So,
Delicious. That's really fruit forward. Yeah.
question for you. Have you,
Yeah.
in your 10 years of making this wine, had that moment where you're, at a restaurant, they're pouring your wine and they're pairing your wine with something that was exquisite, like, oh my God, that is the best pairing I've had. What's the first thing you think of? Or maybe it's just at your home.
Um, okay, it's actually at home. Not that I haven't had great pairings at restaurants, but there's one that really is kind of my like food and wine journey. So I'm also a really big baker. I bake a lot of sourdough, and I've been baking sourdough for just a bit longer than I've been making wine, but it's all the same thing. You're just fermenting yeast and making something delicious. Um, and I learned to make sourdough following the Tartine book, which they're a bakery up in San Francisco. And they've been around for a bit and they're really well known.
Yeah.
And they have a recipe. I love making panzanella. I like making traditional panzanella with like our homegrown tomatoes and basil in the summer. But we grow peaches on the property, and there's nothing like homegrown peach. I mean, don't even talk about farmers market peaches. Like when you're walking through your own orchard, like trying different peaches, deciding which one you think is the best. There's no, it's just the best. So making a peach panzanella with some like mozzarella and some mint and basil with like yellow peach, that would be to me one of the best pairings for the unrooted Chenin.
That sounds delicious. My mouth is watering.
I am, it's like in my head right now, and I'm like, oh, and we didn't have peaches yet. We had peaches later in the summer, so I'm like, oh, can't wait for that.
Burrata. I use
Yes. Oh my gosh.
like
Yes.
peaches and burrata with a little olive oil.
hmm
Oh,
Or
oh,
with this, if you wanted to get funky and throw in some type of like skip the mozzarella style altogether and go with like gorgonzola or some type of blue, that would be kind of funky, and I think it would work really well. Maybe you have to think about the herbs a little bit more, but yeah, that'd be really yummy. Would work with the wine.
well, everybody I pour your wine for with is really impressed. A lot of people don't even know what to expect from quality Chenin, especially something from California. Of course, there's worldwide examples, whether they're dry like Sauvignon or they're generous like a Vouvray. Uh,
hmm
Um, but I think you could really define the California style for Shannon, and I think that's a great move for you. And I know the folks up in Napa are making 50, $60 versions of Shannon, and so the value proposition that you present plus the quality that you're finding and delivering on is really going to serve you well. And I'm excited to be able to turn people on to your brand. How much of this wine do you make?
Right now, we're making about 500 or so cases of the unrooted. We've got some of our estate Chenin Blanc coming online. That's really exciting. Our vineyard's on the younger side. We started planting 7 years ago. So with that, I'm really excited to be able to make a bit more of the own rooted and share it with more people and continue keeping that price point accessible because I think that's one thing that, growing grapes in Paso has really shaped me is, I mean, there's a lot of delicious wines that that have really premium price points out there, but I just really, especially in this day and age, want wines that are accessible and delicious. And so that's one of my goals with the Own Rooted.
We'll keep it going. And thank you for your time today.
Thanks, appreciate it. Good to
See
see
you
you.
soon. You too. Take care. Bye.